So without further ado, let's welcome Stephanie to the stage. And it's already hot, so.
Wow, way to hype me up. I'm just a friend. I'm just
You're
here.
the STR queen.
Oh, okay. I never sat in one of these chairs.
I know, it's hard getting up, but once you're in, it's kind of like, all right, I'm in. All right. Right? Scott's laughing because he knows. Right?
I don't know if I can get down after this. I might be stuck up here.
Robert, you'll help her, right?
I'm 5'2" for reference, so.
5'3". No, yeah. We had to jump up here. All right. So, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And like I said, it's hard to pin you down. I mean, not like in a you're not my friend type of way, but just we both got our stuff going on, and I'm really excited to hear like the new stuff with your assisted living and what you got going on, how you juggle everything. So we'll get just right into it. Did you have any sorry, let's actually do this. Why don't you just do a little brief intro on who you are and like what you got going on these days?
Yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know me, so I'm Stephanie. I've been part of the club for about 4 years. Actually, the first person I saw, me and Robert, was Rich. And we had no idea you owned the club. We just were like, oh, he's nice. Let's talk to him. So a lot has happened since then. I'm a registered nurse by trade, but I did get to quit nursing about, I think it was almost 3 years ago. So it's weird, though, that it's gone by really fast. And in that period of time, I think I compressed so much stuff. So I find now that the quality of what I've experienced probably outweighs the time. So from nursing, I went and got my realtor's license. So I am a part-time realtor on top of everything I do. I probably do. Last year, I did it more on full-time, but this year, I kind of do like one transaction a quarter. I have short-term rentals and I have experience doing it in California, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida, which I remotely manage. Now my team does it for me. I used to do it myself with Robert. And fast forward, we also have a virtual assistant agency. We've had that for almost 2 years now. In addition to still having the STRs, I have over 100 VAs employed in the Philippines, and we help over 75 US-based clients. And then this year, I actually acquired with Robert 2 existing assisted livings or boarding care homes here in Riverside. And along the way, we sprinkled some flips with Farah and me and Robert and other real estate projects. So doing a lot of these things. So a lot of people say, you have mad shiny object syndrome. I tell you, no, I like to diversify and have different streams of income. Because nowadays, to be honest, I probably only work on the STR side, the short-term rental side, about maybe an hour a week. I actually have to remind myself to look at it because my VAs do it now. And with the agency, my VAs have VAs. So it's the coolest thing ever because they teach me so much about productivity. So most of my attention goes towards the real estate transactions that I do. And currently the assisted livings because that's on the fresher side of things. But my motto is, you got to build a machine. And then once you do, you can move on to something else. I get bored also very easily too.
I just remember you saying that. There's something else that she said that really stuck with me over the years. We did that goal setting. That was over 3 years ago now because that was the old building in the little office. But I remember you set a goal that you wanted to buy 1 short-term rental a quarter, so you wanted 4, and she said, that's a minimum, not a maximum. So I was like, I like that. So it's just really, it's cool to like see you grow and just both of us be, growing into our businesses and everything. Nice. So speaking of nursing, what was like the first step you took when you transitioned from nursing to real estate, and like, what would you do differently now, looking back?
So I only left nursing, or the idea of real estate was I just wanted a second stream of income. And then I started realizing after going down the rabbit hole of research that, hey, people actually can leave their jobs and just have their own businesses. And so the first thing I did was I know nothing about real estate. I wanted to do e-commerce. But then he showed me some YouTube videos, and I put 2 and 2 together and said, real estate. that's the way. So I got my realtor's license because I didn't know anything about real estate. And I did it just because, in my opinion, that was the only way I knew how to learn, was just to take courses. So I took the real estate agent course just to understand the lingo of the transaction, knowing that I didn't need to have it to invest. But what I like about it was, because of the experience of the realtor side, I've gotten pretty good at negotiating. So that part has helped me a lot.
Nice. And just as we're going, you guys are totally allowed to ask questions. I just have a list of questions. So if we're touching on something that you want to ask about, just raise your hand. All right? Cool? All right. How did you fund your first investment property? And I guess what would be your advice to someone that didn't have a lot of capital?
So what we did when we first started, it was a short-term rental. We arbitraged first, and for those of you who doesn't know what that means, basically we subleased it from a landlord and built up some cash flow, and also did a proof of concept just so that we know we could do it. We used those funds on top of our savings to get our first rental. Robert and I were pretty good savers, but we started tapping into our 401k and took loans against it. We borrowed against it. And that was actually one of the best things we did, because we were paying ourselves back the interest. So we both borrowed against our 401ks and kept going. So those are like the ways we started.
How many of you knew you could do that? Who didn't know you could do that? Okay. Yeah, it's definitely very powerful. I found that out when I bought my first place, but I did a hardship withdrawal for a down payment. So I didn't have to pay it back, but yeah, that's nice.
Whatever works.
But the loans, yeah, and then you're paying yourself interest, so that's nice. To go back, when you were transitioning, would you have done anything differently?
Probably not. I think the way we did it was good. I think what helped, though, was the type of loan we got. We got 10% down second home loans for our short-term rentals. So we were able to split that to more than one home in different markets, and that's what helped us utilize that capital for more houses.
Yeah, nice. Let's see. Oh, what mindset shift was most important for you becoming an entrepreneur?
So this one was, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know enough to get started. So half the stuff, if not every single one of the ventures I did, I just was like, what's step 1 through step 2? And we'll just do it. And I don't like getting stuck and overthinking things. I'd rather the best experience is just doing it. So as long as you have the right support, and I always believed in my ability to learn. Most people don't realize that's like the one thing you possibly have. So that's what I believe. That shift helped me for sure.
Yeah, I think getting started is definitely the hardest part is taking that first step, because you're stepping into that unknown and that scariness. So I really like that. Just focus on that first step, or even that step right after, that second step. See, she says really smart things. I love it. Okay, let's get into like the short-term rental side. So if someone had an existing short-term rental, what are like 2 to 3 things, or just like whatever you could think off the top of your head, that they can increase their income, that they could, just without paying a whole bunch of money?
Yeah, so the short-term rental industry, especially today, is very interesting. And I recently sold one of my houses in Texas. It's a beach house. And I'm starting to double down in just one market. So I've been reallocating a lot of my portfolio. And the reason why I say that is because with short-term rentals, you have to really look at the economy and the trends and what is being built and where. So for me, what I'm doing now with my existing rentals, you could go crazy with amenities, but I'm actually trying to focus a little bit more on experiences and what that means. And it's like a big thing. Airbnb actually just came out with a new update, which all the hosts hate, which is now guests can book chefs, people to come to your house without your consent, unless you opt out of it, and have experiences there. So one thing that I'm currently researching, and I am talking to a founder of this, is I love escape rooms. So basically, one of the things I'm going to do is have an escape room in my house. I know it sounds weird, but there's a company that can do that, and they built custom escape room games, and your cleaner just has to be able to reset it, but they can do it in less than 10 minutes, and it takes the guests about 2-3 hours to actually go through, and it doesn't cost that much. So that's one of the things I'm doing to upgrade our STRs. The other thing is, if it's plain, we're making it pretty. So I have a lot of cabins, so we're going to be a little bit more brave, and we're actually going to paint our murals on the wood. I've seen people do really well with it. So that and possibly theming. So weird thing, but it works with people. There's one of the highest rated cabins in the Smoky Mountains. That's where we are. It's called the Kinky Cabin, and it's exactly what you think it is. So
Andy, you hear that?
And they are booked, and I was like thinking, you know what? I'm really thinking about it. You know that they need options, right? So another thing you could do is just really theme like your STR. So some people go crazy with animals and dogs. They just put dogs everywhere and make it so pet friendly that the ultimate pet lover will choose you. So double downing on what your avatar, as they call it, is something I'm starting to be a little bit more intentional about. So those are just some things that come up to mind that
I didn't hear about the experience thing. That's interesting. So
yeah.
That's just, I'm like, there's so many things to ask there. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, there we go. I'm like, I finally have a question. Ray, go ahead. So he wants to know why we moved out of Galveston. So the house that we sold in Texas is in Crystal Beach, Texas, which is on the Gulf. Right next to Galveston is like the landmark. The reason why we moved out of there is, well, one, the property taxes, the insurance keeps going up, and the seasonality is very strong. So winter is completely dead. We're going negative during those months, and I personally don't like it. Even though I know it's there and summers are peak time, I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm trying to be more year-round instead of super seasonal. Another question. Yep, go ahead, Rowena.
Where was your first short-term rental? Where did you purchase your first short-term rental?
So where did I purchase my first short-term rental? Well, the first STR we had was actually an arbitrage in Moreno Valley. Some of you know that story. And Moreno Valley is literally right next door to Riverside. And I wish we kept it, but I did what you're not supposed to do, and I did it in an HOA and got kicked out. So, but it was really successful because all the ravers came to my house. It was almost like a short-term rental, mid-term rental hybrid. But the one that we actually bought was in the Smoky Mountains, the first one. And then we started going to Crystal Beach and then Orlando, and then we have a couple in the Smokies. And then I've managed a couple here in Southern California.
Go ahead, Brandon. So this one, we actually, the question was, did we 1031 the Crystal Beach property? So we actually sold it subject to. So we wanted to keep the money, so we just kept it, but we didn't 1031 it. Nice. It's nice being able to sell something creatively.
I know.
So was it subject to, and then you wrapped it?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So you're still getting money from it.
Yeah. So I'm still getting payments on that side.
Was there? I thought I saw another hand. Okay. Okay. I mean, you kind of just talked about this. I was like, oh, so speaking of selling the property, you decided that because, yeah, never mind. She already answered that question. I was going to say, how did you decide that? But it was you didn't want to be in a seasonal market. Okay. She did answer that. What makes a short-term rental stand out on platforms like Airbnb and VRBO?
So it depends on the market. Some places are, like I said, very amenity focused. Certain areas, bigger is better. But in other areas, smaller is better. So to be honest, nowadays, they call them super properties, where you're having like a pickleball court, theater, sauna, hot tub, all the works. Those tend to do a lot better, and especially when they cater to big families, because when you think about it, you're not competing with the hotels when you can sleep 12 people. So we have bedroom counts from 2 to 9 bedrooms. And we always find that the biggest ones tend to do better, but they don't book as much, but they book higher.
Wow. It's interesting that you said that, because last week there was a guy at Exchangers selling one of his properties in Indio near Coachella and all that with a lazy river.
Oh, I think, okay, there's a couple
Yeah.
of lazy rivers out there.
Yeah.
I think I know.
I was like, how can I come up with the money to buy that?
think
I
I
just
might
want
know which
I
one.
just want to live in a house with a lazy river. So, it's only over $1 million to build one, but no big deal. Okay. Okay, let's see if you could okay, what is like the best upgrade that you gave one of them that you saw like the highest ROI?
That's a hard one
A
to
design
say.
or amenity? Design. it
Honestly, pool tables. People love pool tables. So everywhere I put a pool table, I advertise it in my title, and people like that. Hot tubs and pool tables.
Nice. I mean, I'm pretty sure when you guys are booking, that's what you want too, right? Hot tub, pool table. Yeah, everyone's like, yep. Cool. All right. Well, I think this is what a lot of people want to hear about. I mean, everyone wants to hear about everything, but assisted living. Let's go on to that. Why did you choose, and I'm saying it that way on purpose, why did you choose assisted living as a niche? And what barriers did you have to overcome?
So the funny thing is, I swear it chose me. I actually didn't want it for years. I did not want an assisted living. And if Fernando's here, he knows, because the first thing he asked me was like, why? And I'm like, I don't want it. What happened last summer was my aunt basically asked me, I've been asked for years to take over, and I kept saying no. So she tried selling it to her daughter. She didn't want it. So finally she came up to me and said, oh, would you help me sell my boarding cares or my residential care homes? And for some reason, I said, you know what? I'll buy them. And that was it. 2 hours later, I sat with a paper and pen, like not even a notepad, sticky notes. I got her entire P&L and everything, because she doesn't record anything, so I could run numbers and do some research. And fast forward, March was when we actually took over the facilities, and we've been going through licensing, the whole gambit with it. So, and honestly, it's very rewarding. So I'm really glad that we did it, but it took like everyone to convince me to do it. It took Robert, my parents, her. So
what do you think? What do you think changed your mind? Just in that moment, it was just like if it was a minute before, or like kinda.
I ask myself the same question, and it's because I saw how she ran the business. She was able to build it in such a way that it did not need her. And so she could go off on trips, cruises, and her staff could run it. Because the irony was that my parents actually owned one of the facilities that I bought over 25 years ago. I grew up in one of them, and I saw how they ran it. So I think for me, there was a subconscious, like, I saw how my parents were doing it, and I just didn't want to do it. I felt like they were struggling. But then fast forward, I'm like, you guys were working 2 full-time jobs. You had the business, and you had a growing family. This is all I do now. So I don't have a full-time job like they did. I don't even know how the heck they did that and managed it. So because of how she ran it, I was more comfortable with the idea that if she could do it the way she's done it for